Nick Traynor, class of '64, and John DeShaw, class of '63, played in the Boardwalk Bowl during their years at PMC. I asked them to describe the atmosphere on campus leading up to the game.
It was a great atmosphere because, for us it was the biggest game of the year. And the cadets were really into it. You'd go around campus, and for 2 or 3 weeks before, rather than greet anybody, they would always say, "Beat Kings Point, beat Kings Point." So it was an atmosphere that got everybody into it and got everybody excited. It's close enough that the whole Corps came to the game. Close enough that all of your family and friends, if they lived in the area, could go to the game.
What was playing indoors like for you?
Once the game started, I didn't remember too much difference. Like John said, I think the track was fast because they just have nice sod, and that time of year you're practicing outside and the temperature is usually freezing cold, and and our field by the end of the year was mostly dirt and mud. Right. So all of a sudden to go inside this sod that had been watered and was soft, you felt like you actually felt like you could run.
Did you have cheerleaders?
We did, yeah.
Was it
cadets.
All male?
They were all males.
Most were cadets, I think.
Yeah. I'm not sure I even know who any of our cheerleaders were, but we did have cheerleaders. Yeah, we did. And of course we had a band, and the big thing at halftime is we had the Pershing rifles.
Pershing rifles, yeah.
Right.
Pershing rifles were,
They
they were nationally known, and they were great. So they put on a big show at halftime. I know my senior year, which was the '63 game, it was televised. I don't know if the '61 game was televised.
I'm not sure.
The '61 game was the first year, and I was a sophomore, and John was a junior, and we both started. We both played both ways. We played offense and defense, and we were the underdog. Kings Point was really good, and they played a much better schedule than we did. We were playing, in the what they call the MAC, the Middle Atlantic Conference, and they were playing at at a higher level. They were playing Delaware and Lehigh and Bucknell, while we were playing F&M and Haverford and Swarthmore. So we were a big underdog when we played in this game. I remember they were ranked as a team in the East, and I don't know what our record was our sophomore year. We were pretty good. I guess we were like 6-2 or something like that going into this game, but we didn't have any business beating this team, and we killed them. Duke Crate had a monster game. Walt Crate, who was a senior, and Albie Filretta, who was in John's class and was a good friend of mine, had a big game, and we put a lot of points on the board. It was an exciting game.
Yeah.
That's the only time we ever beat them. That's the only game that PMC ever won in that little Army-Navy game. So I agree with John. It was exciting for us. It was impressive. It was the game of the year, and
probably the largest crowd that we played for. There was like 8,000 people.
Yeah.
That were there.
Both cadet corps were there. It was fun. I have one recollection about the Boardwalk Bowl that I'll share with you, because I think it was my senior year. After the game, and we got beat again, but after the game we went to dinner, 4 or 5 couples, we all had our dates with us, and we went to the place in Atlantic City. It was a great restaurant. It was called the Knife and Fork. I think it was one of the top restaurants in Atlantic City. And I guess somewhere through the course of dinner, one of the alums saw us at dinner, and when we went to pay the tab, he had picked up the check for us. So there was 8 or 10 of us, and it was Babe DiGnazio, the guy that owns the townhouse, and we never forgot that. And George Burke was with me, and I don't know if George Stratz was with me or not, but I know we went to pay the check, and he had already paid it. And when you're in college and you're going to an expensive restaurant, we were expecting to have a big bill, to have him pick up the tab, we remembered that. That was probably more exciting than winning the game.
While he was a student at PMC, David Eckerd, class of '66, went down to Atlantic City with the rest of the Cadet Corps to see the Boardwalk Bowl. I asked him to describe his experiences as a spectator at the game.
My parents were going to the game, and I was to meet them after the game. We couldn't see them before the game. We would be bussed down. We did have the opportunity, as I mentioned, to go have dinner on our own, but we had to pass inspection first. So I'll never forget as long as I live. Very, very cold, windy day down in the boardwalk. Typical late November. And to make sure, this is really silly, but to make sure that I was able to pass inspection with my shave, I shaved 3 separate times, and my face was raw. And I'll never forget standing on the boardwalk while we were waiting for the formation, and it took about, I would guess about a half of an hour for the formation to be lined up, and then we would march down the boardwalk and into the convention center, convention hall. And I will never forget the feeling. I just wanted to rip the skin off my face. But all 4 years, really, as a cadet, were tremendously exciting. In fact, I enjoyed it so much, the 4 years that I was a cadet. I was on my honeymoon when the Boardwalk Bowl was played the year after I graduated. And so I cut my honeymoon short by 2 days so that I could drive from the Poconos down to the game and see the Boardwalk Bowl game. So it was an exciting time for the school and also for us as individuals.